with fast funding up to $10,000 available through Net Credit. Our online application process was designed to get the money you need quickly if approved. You can borrow an amount that meets your needs and repay in a way that works for your financial situation. And we report on-time payments to credit bureaus, so you can build credit history as you repay. See what Net Credit can do for you today. Check your eligibility without affecting your credit score at netcredit.com. All Net Credit loans and lines of credit are offered by a member of the Net Credit family of companies or one of our lending partners. Visit netcredit.com/partners for more information.
This is Legal Live with Eddie and Chuck Farah. They're talking the latest legal news and answering your questions. To call Legal Live and ask Eddie and Chuck a question, grab your phone and dial 855-765-1045. That's 855-765-1045.
Welcome. You're listening to Legal Live, brought to you by Farah Farah on 104.5 WOKV, Jacksonville's News and Talk. Feel free to give us a call anytime at 855-765-1045. I'm Shafalika, and I'm joined today by Chuck and Eddie. How are you guys doing this morning?
It's all good, Shafalika.
Nice. I love to hear that. Well, let's get right into it.
Well, let's get into some legal stuff. We have a whole buffet of stuff to talk about today.
Nice.
We're going to start off talking about trespassers and what a responsibility you as a homeowner or a landowner have to a trespasser. I'm going to start talking about this kind of an interesting case that happened in Dixie County, not too far from here. And it involved a guy that had a farm, and he had this farm fenced in. But the problem with the farm, with the fence, was that there was, at the corner or at the intersection where the farm was located, there was a stop sign. And people had a habit of running the stop sign and running into his fence. Okay? And when they would run into the fence, of course, the cows would get out. Okay? So what he did is he took a bunch of tree stumps and he put them behind the fence. That way, if somebody knocked the fence down, the cows, it would be difficult for the cows to escape. So one evening, a driver runs the stop sign, goes through the fence, strikes the tree stumps, and dies. Okay, he's killed.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so his estate sues the farmer for having those tree stumps there.
Who's at fault?
Okay, and so they're trying to make they were trespassers. Remember, the at fault, the driver who died runs the stop sign. He does something wrong, but and he rams through the fence, hits the tree stumps. The tree stumps kill him. So he files a lawsuit against the farmer, the landowner. And you would think, oh, well, this guy's a trespasser. He ran the stop sign. How can he possibly sue the farmer? Well, there was a cause of action. The case was initially dismissed, and the appellate court, the first DCA, which is the DCA we are in, said, no, that suit can progress because just because you were a trespasser doesn't mean I can willfully do something to harm you. This landowner was on notice that people would run that stop sign and tear down the fence. So by him putting those tree stumps there, he was on notice, that he created a very dangerous condition that was not open and obvious because it was at night when this happened. This driver who ran the stop sign had no way of knowing that the tree stumps were there. Whether that would have made a difference or not, that remains to be seen. But even though the moral to that story is that the rule for trespassers is that if you were a landowner, you have to avoid willful injury. For instance, somebody wanders onto your property, they're a trespasser, doesn't mean you can just pull out a gun and shoot at them. So you have to, if you're a landowner, you have to avoid willful injury to the trespasser and warn them of any danger that's not open and obvious. So that's a big thing because there are a lot of traps. I mean, some people, for instance, if you had a trap on your property.
Or let's say let's say you know of a hole that's developing in your yard that's covered by like grass or something. Mm-hmm. You know it's there. It's a hole. If you fall into it, you could twist or break your ankle. You got to do something about it.
Well, let's take it a little step. But it's more than that. I think you have to show that people are in that area walking a lot.
Yeah, right.
You have to show that you're on notice about it. So if you have a dangerous condition, for instance, if I have like Chuck says, a big pit or some hidden area, hidden pit that looks covered, or maybe it's not open and obvious, okay?
Right.
And you know people frequent that area, then you've got to warn them. If a trespasser comes onto the property and something happens to them, you've got some liability there. So don't believe just because somebody's trespassing on your property that you have immunity from a lawsuit. This suit was allowed to proceed. You would look at it at first and say, man, this guy ran the stop sign. He was at fault. You know, he shouldn't have run the stop. If you never ran the stop sign, then he would have never hit the trees and would be alive today. But he did run the stop sign, but the landowner was aware of the fact that he was running other people had run the stop sign, and so that lawsuit was allowed to keep going.
So who did the homeowner end up losing?
Because I don't know what the end result was.
Okay.
But the court, they may have settled it.
I think the law, like in that situation, what are they trying to do? You know, they're trying to say, okay, you've got this situation. People are coming through your fence. The cows are getting out, okay? You know, maybe put bushes up, real thick bushes, or some other alternative. Think it through so it doesn't injure somebody. And that's kind of why the law is kind of designed that way. You know, even though he's a trespasser, that doesn't mean you can injure the people.
So question, in this case where a driver ran a stop sign, crashed into a fence, hit the stumps that the farmer had put up to protect the cows from leaving their property, hit the stumps and then died, if that homeowner, the farmer, had put up a light and signs that says, you know, hazardous wall ahead, do not trespass.
Yeah, something like that.
If that had happened, would the farmer still be liable for any from the estate of the dead driver?
This happened at night, and if it were lit, then I think he could have argued it was open and obvious. The tree stumps were there.
But then it still becomes a jury question.
Yeah.
And so he's not completely out of the woods, you know. I mean, because the jury would decide whether that was open and obvious, you know, and they'd have to decide it. I think that case would still go forward. Yeah. I think the law wants you to, like, if you're going to prevent a barrier, you know, if you're going to put a barrier up, make sure it's a barrier that maybe is far off. Maybe you don't need to have it right next to the road. You push your barrier back so that when cars do run, they're not running into the fence. I mean, there are all alternatives to that, and I think that's what the law tries to get people to do. You know, these legal decisions try to get people to do.
Would it have still been a problem if it was a brick fence, a brick wall instead of a fence?
Well, I think that's dangerous. That's probably just as dangerous as having those tree stumps there, and I think that. You know, the open and obvious, you know, yes, if it were lit, maybe, you know, hey, you should have seen it, you know. It's open and obvious. It's all lit up, you know.
What about the stand your ground law with trespassers? Like, I assumed in the South, if somebody comes onto your property, that you have the right to bear arms and stand your ground. Is that correct?
Well, that's different. I mean, that's a self-defense type issue. That's different. I mean, this person's not being threatened or a car just goes on his property.
Gotcha. So stand your ground is more about self-defense, and trespassing is different.
Yeah, if you're in fear of imminent harm, like, you know, somebody's coming after you.
I see.
This guy's trying to protect his cows from escaping out of the barn, out of the field. But anyway, so that's a trespassing case, and it applies. This rule of law still is in effect about what your duty is to a trespasser. We all know that, you know, when you go into a big box store, there's a duty to maintain a safe premises. You know, you're a customer. They want you there. They want you to come in and spend your money. So they have a higher duty of care to the customer. But and so people are generally under the impression that trespassers have no duty to a trespasser. But you do have duties to trespassers. It's not a high duty like a customer if you're at a store, but still, it's a duty.
I see. That's really interesting. Well, I can't wait to get into more of this buffet of legal interesting cases. As we take a quick break right now, feel free to give us a call at 855-765-1045. You're listening to Legal Live, brought to you by Farah Farah on 104.5 WOKV. We'll be right back after this quick break. All right, welcome back to Legal Live, brought to you by Farah Farah on 104.5 WOKV, Jacksonville's News and Talk. I'm Shafalika, and I'm joined today with Eddie and Chuck. Give us a call in to ask any of your legal questions at 855-765-1045.
Yeah, thanks, Shafalika. And we'll just keep moving along. Of course, your phone calls are the most important thing. If you want to call us, we're ready, willing, and able to see what we can do to help you. Otherwise, we'll move forward with our agenda of items to discuss. And but again, if your phone calls will have priority if you do call. Okay, I want to talk about a little mental anguish because when people file lawsuits for negligence, it could be any type of case: slip and fall, medical malpractice, auto accident, any type of personal injury. In Florida, there are various elements that you can claim. Lost wages, medical bills, future lost wages, future medical bills. But the big ones typically are pain and suffering, loss of enjoyment of life, mental anguish. Mental anguish, your claim for mental anguish can be very tricky when it comes to a lawsuit because a lot of people, when you go see a psychologist or a psychiatrist, there's a privilege there. Excuse me. The law puts, and we all know about the HIPAA forms, but the HIPAA stuff is elevated when it comes to psychiatric type records. I mean, because it's very sensitive. I mean, you're kind of opening your heart to your doctor.
Yeah.
I mean, you go to your regular doctor, your internist. You talk about maybe you got a back issue or your ears hurting you or you got the flu. I mean, you're not there talking about your innermost feelings.
Right.
You're there trying to get physically well.
Right.
When it comes to mental stuff, it can be very sensitive, and the law. I mean, they want to, and unless you can open up your heart and open up everything to the doctor, and he really can't help you. So the law has instituted very strict regulations when it comes to what you tell your psychiatrist or your psychologist. They can't repeat it. Even by subpoenas or certain things they cannot disclose without your permission.
Confidentiality.
Yeah. So so that comes into play a lot of times in an auto accident or a slip and fall or any kind of negligent case, because one of the elements that you can claim in the state of Florida is mental anguish. Okay, and so a lot of insurance companies are using that to try to get to your psychiatric records. They figure if they can get those records, they can maybe try to sort of maybe embarrass you a little bit, because then you've kind of, when you put the issue out there, you can't stop them from getting the records. If you claim mental anguish, you can't say, well, you can't have my records.
Right.
You're claiming that element. You want money for it, then we need to look at what you're talking about. So anyway, the insurance companies will try to get those records, and they'll try to get those psychiatric or records from your psychologist, because they want to see if you really do have mental anguish from the accident. They want to see what else is going on with you. And sometimes people are embarrassed by what's in there. Or not embarrassed, but you just don't want it out there.
It's obviously private.
It's private
personal stuff.
Anybody would be uncomfortable, I should say, revealing that information. So what you can do, what we've done in a lot of situations in our office and as a personal injury firm, we don't claim mental anguish. We stop it right there. A lot of times we consult with our clients. We find out, what they feel about what's going on. And if we know that they're going to be uncomfortable about what's in there, then you can stop the insurance company from getting those records by dropping your mental anguish claim. You can still claim pain and suffering, loss of enjoyment of life. You can claim all that. You can still claim all your medical bills and lost wages. You just can't pursue the mental anguish claim. But a lot of times people are okay dropping that claim, and it's something you want to really think about if you don't want that stuff out there. Now, after it's been disclosed, if you do disclose it, you can ask the court to seal the records and so forth, but it isn't a deposition typically, and there are people that have the records now. But we've been pretty successful of keeping that stuff out when we do represent people who have been involved in an accident.
So dropping a mental anguish claim, part of your claim, can also protect the person who's filing against,
Well, if we're making a claim, I mean, if you're injured in an accident and you're claiming mental anguish, the insurance company is going to ask you, hey, have you ever seen a psychologist or a psychiatrist?
Mm-hmm.
You've put that issue,
put it out
that
there.
issue out there. So
right.
they have to defend the case.
Right.
And how do they defend it? Well, You're claiming that you've been depressed as a result of this automobile accident.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that, okay? Well, let's look at your prior records. Let's see if you had been treated for depression prior to this accident.
I see.
You know, and so now they can argue, well, it really wasn't the auto accident. The person had been suffering from this disease for some time, you know, and, you know, it's not related. Yeah. So,
I see.
because you put it out there, you make it a claim. Now, if, like Eddie says, sometimes we'll drop it. Well, that means the jury is not going to be able to award any money for mental anguish. It's just not going to be on the verdict form.
And the jury would be the ones that ultimately decide if that mental anguish claim is valid or not.
Right.
Yeah, but you're going to have all your records.
Yeah, all of your dirty laundry out there as well. I got
everything. I mean, everything's going to be out there. A lot of people are not uncomfortable doing that. So I mean, they'll drop that claim, and then nobody hears about it. The insurance company doesn't know about it. They don't get the records, and it stays privileged. It stays away from everybody.
Wow.
It's only when you put it in issue. It's only when you make a claim for it that it becomes an issue. If you don't make a claim for it, it's not an issue. Nobody knows about it. So,
how is mental anguish different from pain and suffering?
Well, pain and suffering can be physical pain and suffering. My back's hurting me for the rest of my life. And I suffer from it. That's a physical. Mental anguish, as Chuck said, could be I'm depressed because of the accident. I used to be an avid riding. I used to ride horses all the time. That was my passion. I can't do it. I'm depressed now because I can't ride horses. That's a mental anguish claim.
I see.
So I'm upset. It stresses me out that I can't ride my horse.
And pain and suffering is more like chronic pain, chronic injury.
Yeah, injuries that you have to deal with the rest of your
movement.
life. Yeah.
Okay.
Got it.
Yep.
Wow.
So anyway, that's what it is. What happens is when you put anything in issue, if you make a claim for something, any privilege attached to that goes by the wayside because now you've put it in play, and when it's in play, you can't stop them from getting it.
I see.
So anyway, okay. Okay.
Well, what's coming up next after this break coming up? I was just wondering.
Okay. Well, I can get into something else I want to talk about right now, but
okay.
I think we got a break. Do we have a break coming up?
We do.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, and then we'll start a new topic then.
All righty. Well, we've got some more interesting topics coming up for you on Legal Live, brought to you by Farah and Farah. You're listening to 104.5 WOKV, Jacksonville's News and Talk. We'd love to hear from you. Give us a call at 855-765-1045. You're listening to Legal Live, brought to you by Farah and Farah. Thank you so much, and give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. We'll be right back after this quick break. All right, welcome back to Legal Live, brought to you by Farah and Farah on 104.5 WOKV, Jacksonville's News and Talk. I'm Shafalika, and I'm joined today with Eddie and Chuck, our legal gurus. And we've got a caller on the line, Jean from Jacksonville. You had a son in an auto accident. Tell us all about it. What's going on?
Okay, about 10 or 11 years ago, my son was in a automobile accident. He went around a curve and lost the motorcycle and hurt himself pretty severely. He had a rod placed in his leg, and he also had crushed his hip pretty bad, and even a rod in his arm. And he still worked, and once he healed a little bit, he still worked, and he's still going, but he was with a manufacturing company here the last 6 or 8 months, and he took out disability insurance as well as they had him on the health insurance. Well, he had to have an operation to take care of this in 2 stages. One was that he had to have the rod taken out and packed with gauze to heal up so he can get a hip replacement. What happened was this particular manufacturing place, they switched insurances because new owners bought him out. So while he paid it for 6 or 8 months and he's qualified for all of it, we're having a hard time getting them to help us with everything as far as, the paperwork. Right. And it's like they don't want to carry him on anymore.
Right. Well, even if he loses his job, as long as he has the insurance, they're going to have to pay it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, what you could do is leave your number with our producer, because I know someone who handles those types of cases. They can consult with you on it.
Okay.
And I can give you a call Monday and give you that information.
Yes, sir. That'd be fantastic.
Because they have to. Is it long-term or short-term disability?
I think I'm almost positive it's long-term.
Okay. And
yes,
how long is he going to be out of work? Do you know?
Well, if things go right, you should get the hip replacement in the next month or so, and then he'll have to heal up from that. So probably, I'm saying maybe 6 months.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, thanks for the information. Leave your number with our producer, and then I'll be in phone contact to give you a phone number of somebody who can help you.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Just to throw this in, I've been listening to you guys for years, and it's a fantastic show. I enjoy it every Sunday.
Thanks for tuning in,
Saturday,
Gene.
I'm sorry.
I appreciate it, man. We love being here, too.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, these insurance, this thing that Gene's talking about, Shafalika, let me tell you, these insurance companies, they are, everybody thinks that you buy this disability. Mm-hmm. We all buy insurance.
Right.
We all buy insurance. And I put 4 on the insurance application, how they can come back to, you can come back to
bite you,
losing your coverage because they look at something in the application. But you buy this insurance, you pay for it, and because if you become disabled, you want to use it, and that's what it's there for. It's sort of a safety net, and these, especially in the disability insurance arena, these companies are notorious for not paying when they should. They love finding a loophole, maybe something on the application that you signed that's a material misrepresentation, or you didn't tell us this or that, and they'll try to find a way not to pay it. But there's recourse. Florida has some good laws when it comes to these disability policies, and there are lawyers that handle them. We're going to try to help Gene on this one.
Absolutely.
If they try not to pay it. But it's always a battle. You go to sleep at night in comfort, thinking, hey, I can sleep tonight. If something bad happens, I've got insurance to protect me. But you don't always have it. You think you have it. Even though you've paid your premium, you still may not have it. Because if they come back and they if they show you that you misrepresented something on the application, and we would never have given you the insurance, or the rate would have been different based on the information you gave, if you were truthful, so-called truthful, then they'll just send you back your premium and say, here's your money back. You have no insurance coverage.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
That's it's terrifying to think of.
Yeah. It's could be it's horrifying because you're stuck and you have nothing,
Yeah, that is terrifying.
Yep. That's why you've got to have a civil justice system that supports the consumer and allows you to fight back.
Yeah, protects the people.
Yeah.
Well, we've got another caller online, Anna from Orange Park. You're having an issue with Xfinity, it seems like. Tell us all about it.
We canceled our account in September of last year. Actually, one of the customer service agents I've spoken with even gave me the exact time that I canceled it. We canceled it at 3:56 p.m. on 9/23. We were caught up on our bill, and they've since sent us a bill and finally sent it into collections for $631.
Right.
I spent an hour a week on the phone with these people trying to get it. Oh, no. Okay. Trying to get it taken care of, and nothing has happened yet.
Yeah, have you checked to see if there's any kind of class action pending about that type of activity?
No, I have not thought to check about that.
Yeah, and do you have anything in writing to them?
No, not yet. I've been taking care of everything over the phone,
right.
And of course they record all their calls for customer satisfaction, so I make sure that I keep calm and remind them of that. And then I spend a half an hour while they read the notes and swear to me they're the last customer service agent I'm going to have to speak with.
Right. Okay.
Do I need
you
keep doing it this way?
Huh?
Do I need to keep doing it this way? Just call them?
I mean, if have they assured you that they're going to take care of it and remove it from your credit?
5 times in the past 2 months.
Well, I think you should write a letter to them.
Okay.
Because whoever gets that letter, they're going to have to run it up the chain. It's going to get to somebody other than the person you've been speaking to. So
okay.
I'm sure there's an address you can write it to and explain to them and that you're going to consult with a lawyer and take legal action if this is not fixed immediately. Okay.
Okay, because we're finally getting our credit straight, and now this is hard.
Yeah. They need to remove that immediately because, and if not, check online and see if maybe other people are having that problem, and there may be a class action that you could participate in. But I would start off with the letter, and if that doesn't work, you can call us back. I may know somebody who can help you with that.
All right, I appreciate it. Y'all have a great day.
Yeah, good luck. The problem with these Shafalika, I'll tell you, you used to, I was going to tell her, well, you can file a lawsuit against them, but typically, like with Xfinity, credit card companies and all that, you have an arbitration clause in there, which you've agreed to when you took out the service that prevents you from filing a typical lawsuit. And you got to go through arbitration, which can be very expensive. I mean, it's a quick resolution, but it costs a lot more money. And you've got to hire the arbitrators. You got to pay them out of pocket. That's thousands of dollars just to do that. So, but hopefully she can get it resolved.
Yeah, hopefully. I know that when it comes to internet service providers, everybody knows. I mean, I think there's even a South Park joke that they enjoy somehow torturing you with these fees and extra fines and these loopholes and it's just a joke out there, but it feels very real that they somehow, like, why do they make it so difficult to either stop your contract or change services or pay, your debt or whatever? Like, they just always accrue these extra fines out of nowhere.
Yeah, last month I canceled my Audible account. It was like $14 a month.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, shows up on my credit card again. I mean, and it's been canceled. I got a call from my accounting office and said, "Hey, are you part of Audible now?" I said, "I canceled that thing," and it still shows up.
My goodness!
Look at the time. Okay, it's $14 a month, but it's every month, and then it costs you. It takes 2 hours of your time to get it canceled.
I know,
again.
Right?
So,
and then you never know.
It's really
You have to keep. I feel for Anna. I really do.
Yeah, I know.
She's been dealing with this since November of last year.
It's on her credit. So what happens? She goes to apply for credit, and it's going to come up there. They're going to charge her a higher interest rate.
Right.
If she tries to get a loan, she probably won't get the loan because
there's this unpaid debt on it now, and even to take it off of the credit seems it's like such a headache. I really feel for her.
Yeah, you can file a claim for that, but.
You can do it, though. Don't give up. Write that letter.
Oh, yeah.
Is that to create a paper trail?
Then call us back if it doesn't work because there are other things you can do about it.
Right. Well, thank you for calling, Anna. We appreciate that. We've got a few more minutes till our next break. Why don't you jump into something else on the legal buffet?
I would like to on the buffet today. But I'll tell you, we heard a commercial a couple of commercials ago about the Hard Rock Casino down there in Tampa. And, those casinos are owned by the tribe, by the Seminole tribe.
Oh, right,
yeah,
right.
And if you're the Seminole tribe, all Indian tribes they're like a country within a country.
Right.
A sovereign nation.
They are a sovereign nation.
They establish their own
rules. And so when I was listening to that, and I was thinking about Chief Osceola, because if you're down there in Tampa or you're down there in Hollywood, and something happens, you're in for a rude awakening. Let's say, let's drill it down. Let's say you hit a big slot machine, and they don't want to pay, or they're claiming something happened, or you shouldn't have gotten the money, or you shouldn't get the money. You can't sue them. You think you have a cause of action against a Hard Rock for their failure to pay out on a slot machine. But they have sovereign immunity, and which means they only allow you to sue them if they want you to sue them.
Exactly. They have to approve it.
They have to approve it. So just because if you're
that's brilliant.
If you feel you're shortchanged on a slot machine and you want to go get your money, now if you're in Vegas, go hire a lawyer.
Right.
You're gonna get your money. At the Hard Rock, it's a whole different story. I mean,
sovereign immunity.
They have their own. They have immunity. They're like the federal government. You can only sue them under I mean, they have to allow you to sue them. Let's say a drunk employee at the Hard Rock runs over you, or you're assaulted in the parking lot, or somebody breaks into your room and you're assaulted. You have no right to sue the casino because they are protected by the sovereign immunity of the tribe. And I could take it to the tribe is in all kind of businesses, not just casinos. I mean, they got mortgage companies. There's one mortgage company called the Great Plains Lending. It's owned by the tribe. And so there were a lot of people that were taking out mortgages or loans from Great Plains Lending, and they weren't abiding by the Florida consumer protection laws. So somebody tried to sue Great Plains Lending here in Florida. And the court threw out the lawsuit and said, no, you cannot sue them for violation of your consumer protection because this company is owned by the tribe.
Wow.
And so the judge threw it out. So it's not just getting hurt on the property. If you're dealing with, let's say you're a vendor and you have a contract with the tribe. I don't know, maybe you supplied them with paper cups or something. Mm-hmm. And
the casino.
They're not paying you.
Wow.
Don't think you can just file a lawsuit and make them pay you. It's very interesting. You have to read it. Okay.
I mean, I think it's important that these indigenous nations, these First Peoples, have laws that protect the sovereignness of their own tribe and their own nation. But this does seem kind of like a loophole. I've never heard of somebody having to approve of whether you can sue them or not. That's interesting. It's a very clever way to protect themselves, and to also, you are screwed if something happens.
You know, if you work at the casino,
smarter than the average bear.
Smart.
I'll tell you what, they are. Let me take
Brilliant.
Let me take it even further. I just gave you like 6 or 7 examples. Let me give you another example. Let's say you work at the casino and you're claiming you're a victim of age discrimination or any kind of discrimination, violation of federal law. They're immune.
Wow.
You cannot claim any kind of violation of federal employment practice.
Well, you know,
if you work at the casino.
It might upset us today, but honestly, they've been through enough in the long run. Like, okay.
Well, I'm just telling you what the law is. I'm not here making.
I'm torn about how I feel about that.
Well, I'm not talking about the morality or if it's right or wrong.
Right.
I'm just telling you the way it is.
Yeah, I'm low key impressed.
This is not a political show.
They do provide a nice casino, though.
The casinos are beautiful. I will say that.
They got some nice restaurants.
Just don't slip and fall. Whatever you do.
Yeah, don't fall. Don't get robbed. Don't get run over.
We will be right back after this quick break.
Hopefully the slots will pay out like they're supposed to.
Right? You're listening to Legal Live on 104.5 Jacksonville's News and Talk. Give us a call at 855-765. We're having a great time. We'd love to hear from you. We'll be right back after this quick break. Welcome back to Legal Live, brought to you by Farah Farah on 104.5 WOKV, Jacksonville's News and Talk. We've got a few minutes left, and we'd love to hear from you. Call us at 855-765-1045. Take it away, Eddie.
Sure, thanks, Falika. Anytime there's an accident, typically companies, when something happens, a big semi-truck causes something on the expressway, they've got people that go out there and investigate those accidents. Mm-hmm. If you slip and fall at a big box store, they have a protocol whereby they investigate what happened. They fill out what they call an incident report. Right. All businesses do it. All big businesses do it. And that incident report has a lot of valuable information in it because it's contemporaneous with what's going on. I mean, they're talking to witnesses. They're getting witness statements. They're getting information. Maybe they collect some evidence. And so then what happens is you, as an injured person, you file a lawsuit. You go to a lawyer, and the lawyer files a lawsuit. And you tell the attorney that, well, the manager of the store was there doing a report. He interviewed me. I gave him some information. He talked to me. He talked to the person who was with me. there's some information in that report we need to get because I've forgotten some stuff and I saw some witnesses there and I want to, we need that for our lawsuit. So you would think that you could go to the court and ask the judge to give you that incident report from the store because you need that to develop your case. Well, under the law in the state of Florida, there's an incident report privilege, which means they're not required to give you that incident report because it's because they knew it was created in anticipation of litigation. There's a rule in the state of Florida that if a business or a company or an individual compiles a report when it's anticipated that there's going to be litigation, they don't have to turn over that incident report. That's the general rule. That's why, we talk about hiring a lawyer. That's why you want to hire a lawyer as soon as you can, because don't think that you can go get the information and the report that the other side created. You need to you have to do your own investigation.
Right.
And that's why it's important to immediately, if you are injured, to hire someone who can conduct their own investigation and do what needs to be done. Don't count on being able to get that incident report. Now, you can get it under certain circumstances, but it's not automatic. Sending a subpoena to the other side and say, well, send me that incident report that you conducted or my client was interviewed and you had all the witnesses and the pictures and all this other stuff. No, you're not going to get that automatically. It's going to be a dogfight to get it if you can get it. So that's why you want to hire somebody as soon as you can, right, Chuck?
Work product, Ed.
Yeah.
You can't get it.
Yeah. So
unless you can show that the report was used and prepared for some other reason other than the thought that there could be litigation resulting from this.
Or
that's
the
really
fact
good
you can't
advice.
get the information from any other place.
I see.
I mean,
Or
if
you
you can
can't get it
argue
from
that,
any other place,
if you
right.
can argue that, listen, you have witnesses there that they're gone, and there's no way for me to find out who the witnesses are. You have the names of the witnesses, and so you can maybe get around it and get it that way. But typically, it's very difficult to get it. I mean, very rare does a lawyer get the incident report.
Gotcha.
Okay, but
So you have to go another route.
okay, yeah. All right, so
Wow.
I guess
That's a good tip to end on, actually.
Yeah, hire a lawyer.
All right.
That's the moral of that story.
Hire a lawyer. That's life advice on a Saturday afternoon. Just
Lawyers,
don't
guns,
slip
and money.
Lawyers, guns, and money. Oh, my goodness. Well, thank you so much for listening to Legal Live, brought to you by Farah Farah on 104.5 WOKV, Jacksonville's News and Talk. We've had a fantastic afternoon. We hope you enjoyed the show, too. Thank you for listening. Thank you for calling in. And as always, we'll see you next time on noon on Saturdays on 104.5 WOKV, Jacksonville's News and Talk.
With bills to pay and debt piling up, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. Personal loans through NetCredit can provide funding up to $10,000 to help you get back on track financially if eligible. Our secure application process allows you to customize the terms that work for you and your budget. So check your eligibility today without affecting your credit score and help get your finances back on track. NetCredit, a more personal loan. All NetCredit loans and lines of credit are offered by a member of the NetCredit family of companies or one of our lending partners. Visit netcredit.com/partners for more information.